What if I told you that learning your partner's language could increase your chances of staying together? I'm not talking about cute language up streaks. I'm talking about meeting the real version of the person you love. Because the truth is, most of us are dating the translated version of our boyfriend, fiancé, wife, which is almost like the filtered, safe English version. There is a reason why so many international relationships are slowly falling apart. It's not the lack of love, it's the lack of emotional depth in the language that you share. Today, I'll tell you exactly why learning your partner's language changes everything, how to do it, and what research actually says about it. Let me break this down. It is likely that if your partner speaks another language, you feel and perceive certain aspects of reality differently based upon the things and languages that you grew up with, you were raised in. This will, of course, affect how you communicate with each other. In the 1960s, researchers tested a group of women who spoke Japanese and English fluently. Susan Erwin Tripp asked them to complete a series of sentences in both languages, and they expressed different ideas when they were answering in English and in Japanese. For example, they were asked to complete the sentence, "Real friends should." English variations were something like "be frank." Japanese results were "help each other." As we can clearly see, it means different things to different nationalities. This seems to indicate that language plays a significant role in shaping your responses, opinions, and any ideas, and even your dreams. Not only this, looking at my example, when I started learning new languages, I noticed that I'm different in all of them, and I have different, way different personalities in all of them. Например, когда я говорю по-русски, это язык, которым пользовалась с детства, говорила с бабушкой, с дедушкой, с всем. У меня бывало, что я там говорила, то лучше, то хуже, но все равно я становилась зажатой и тихой. И когда я просто сейчас, когда я думаю о любви, я думаю именно на этом языке, потому что именно на нем мне легче всего выражать себя. And then, quando eu falo português, por isso portuguesa é língua é muito expressiva, é muito cheia muito engraçada, muito cheia de emoção. Por isso, quando eu falo português, estou em todos os lugares, like all over the place, even if I'm not sure if I said it correctly, but I'm sure you know what I mean. I kiedy mówię po polsku, używam raczej zaawansowanych słów, gdyż po prostu pracowałam nad znajomością tego języka właśnie w ten sposób, żeby móc czytać jako lektor i naturalnie używam bardzo poważnych słów. I brzmię dość poważnie i do tego jeszcze bardzo niemiło. Und ich konnte immer und immer wieder tun. Alle Sprachen sind different. And they force different emotions. I noticed in all of these languages as my behavior shifts and varies in all of them. And it doesn't matter when it comes to the level, because even when I barely spoke Portuguese, because this language is like cheia de emoção, so expressive, I felt confident even if I knew very little. So if your partner is Japanese, I know we've been picking on Japan for a while now, and you, let's say, speak the loudest language in todo mundo, Spanish, Greek, or Italian. He might be pretending someone who he is not. Maybe he also be discovering a new version of himself, you know? So it has its pros and its cons. Avoiding misunderstandings based on cultural differences. Let's move to real reasons and benefits. Apart from the fact that your partner will help you learn a completely new language, you'll get exposed to a brand new culture, which is amazing. This is what we want. And who knows, that new culture and a new language might lead you to meeting even more valuable people, and maybe even finally finding the right person for yourself. And you're watching this video for a reason. Either you don't want to learn their language, or they don't want to learn your language, and you just stick to English. So learning their language will help you bond with people, and actually with anyone who speaks it. The more misunderstandings you have, the more it weakens the relationships, and it strengthens the frustration that you have, even if it's literally about nothing serious. But over time, of course, it builds up. I remember having a conversation with my friend who was very strongly standing with, I don't need to learn her language, we have English, it's okay. Yet he was coming back every single time to us, to our group of friends, and coming back with all of these misunderstandings, saying that, of course, everything was like language based. So, of course. So like, imagine coming back home and you're longing after the long day to tell your husband what happened, something happened at work, anywhere. But then you reminded yourself that you need to do it in English, you need to do it in your second language. Taking into consideration that English is also not very expressive when it comes to emotions, love, and how you feel. It's very specific, But anyone who knows more languages than English, they will know that this language is not the best when it comes to that, which will just make your brain even more tired and frustrate you even more. This is what was happening in my friend's case, and he decided that he will listen to our advice, and he started learning her language and just basic vocabulary, but focus on specific topics that she might touch on in the future. And it helped a lot. When she was coming back home, she didn't know the word, she was tired. Then he was practicing with her, he was filling up the gaps with the single words, and it helped a lot. And it was everything in her language. Impressive, that was amazing, we were so happy. And she felt more understood. She didn't feel pressured to phrase it properly in English, because it can affect the whole structure of the sentence also if you feel pressure. While fluency isn't required, of course, for bilingual relationships, learning a language for love is an investment. It's a very important thing, and it shows the commitment and the desire to compromise, to meet halfway. Learning the native language of your wife, boyfriend, gives you a solid, hopefully long-lasting reason to study. It becomes easier to create your own inside language, inside jokes, pet names, little phrases that only you will understand. You're basically building a mini language within your relationship inside the language that you already both speak. That kind of communication strengthens your bond and creates a shared identity. And like I mentioned earlier, learning someone else's language gives you direct access to their culture and values, not to this translated version. This really matters when we talk about marriage. Even basic knowledge of your partner's language plus exposure to their movies, interviews, articles can completely change how you understand big topics. How they understand it, how are gender roles, for example, expectations perceived in the culture, or what are the expectations in the marriage? Is marriage viewed as religious, civil, or both? How is it divorcing? Is there any divorce, maybe? How culture treats infidelity? You see where I'm going? There are more things than people think, and you just cannot get it just by reading about it. Now, probably you will ask me, why? We have English, do I need it? I don't know about you, but for example, when I speak Russian, I express my love more. I feel it more, all of the feelings related to love. When it comes to me arguing, then my Polish side is a bit dominant. And coming back to my Japanese friend, when I asked him how to speak about love or how to say that you like someone in Japanese, it's basically the same as I love you. That's what he told me. I was like, how do you say it to your girlfriend then? I like you. How do you say it to your friend if you like your friend? I like you. So it's basically the same thing, but all matters, it's timing. And in order to know when to say it, you need to know the culture. Therefore, you will likely develop a much broader understanding of your partner background, conditioning, and even personality and behaviors. And it's so important and crucial if you understand their language or just a little tiny bit of the language. Or if you want to look only at negative things, imagine if you don't know their language and they're cheating on you. I know you don't want to hear it, but let's say they're cheating on you. You will never know, because they are cheating on you in Albanian, and they are texting in Albanian, and you don't even know how to read. You don't even know how to say whatever in Albanian, and you won't even kind of figure out what is in these text messages. Why should I learn it? Rates of intermarriage have been climbing steadily for a long time now, up from 3% in 1967 and 7% in 1980s. Intermarriage doubled to 14 in 2015, and now it's still growing, so it's not going anywhere. So we just have to know how to deal with it and know how to act if you are one of them, or if you will be in the future. The solution, first thing that many people miss at the beginning, is your other half is not your teacher. They were born with the language, but that doesn't mean they know the grammar rules, same grammar rules that you learned at school. Native speakers usually don't structure the sentences, they don't think about tenses, they don't think why something or why the structure is correct. They know that sounds right and they just use it, so don't count on them to explain everything to you. Hire a real tutor instead. I know what you're gonna say, why should I do it if I have a native speaker at home or if I'm dating a native speaker? They might become very impatient if they have to constantly repeat a sentence 3 times or wait several minutes for you to build one. This really interrupts the flow of the conversation, and they are, I assure you, not used to it. But don't worry, you can still use them. In your free time, dedicate regular slots during the week to practice together. Make it clear that this is the time for language practice only. It should be a limited time, of course, agreed in advance. This way, you both know what to expect. Outside of that time, you can go back to your common language, communication, English, whatever you're using, just to avoid any frustrations. It also gives the other half the space to express themselves in their language, or at least partially in their language. That's why it's better to separate the practice time to the normal daily communication. Tell them, for example, not to correct you while you speak, but give you some guidance at the end. It's really helpful. You don't need to sit down for a formal lesson. You can do something that you both already enjoy doing. Choose activities where small misunderstandings don't create real problems. So, for example, go for a walk together. It's way better than cooking a dinner or play a board game or do something low stress. And of course, during that time, speak the language. Low pressure makes the whole thing and consistency easier. It's like teaching children a language. They need to associate it with something nice. But don't forget, of course, you need to study in your own time outside that practice time with your other half. Switch to your weaker language. If you're learning his language and he's learning yours, for example, and you're both at decent level, switch languages when you argue. When you sense a bit of the tension, switch. Be on the same level. No one has the fluency advantage. No one is dominating just because they're more articulate. And if you can't explain what you mean in a language, simply just don't argue. The good thing is that at least you can feel comfortable speaking around the person you're with. So if you make mistakes, who cares? He's not supposed to bully you or for misplacing a tense. And if he does,
why are you with him?
No, seriously, then leave. Don't be a perfectionist. Focus on understanding and being understood and not on a perfect grammar. Speak, listen, repeat, and just keep going. That's the goal to fluency. And if the message is clear, that's enough. That's really enough. It doesn't have to sound like a native speaker because no one will sound like this at the beginning. That's obvious. Start speaking right away. Set the rule, for example, no English on Tuesday or from 2 p.m. on Tuesdays. Of course, this applies to more advanced groups, but it still can work. Find your motivation. The person you're dating cannot be your only motivation. I'll tell you this now. That's too fragile. If the relationship struggles, I don't wish you up that, but then your motivation disappears. Create your own reason, make it personal, make it slightly secret. For example, by May, I'll be able to hold half-fluent conversation. And then shock him or her. Turn it into a challenge or maybe into a goal, something that exists independently of the relationship. Now another reality. Some people find that they feel more shy practicing with their partner than with a stranger. And that makes sense, as their opinion, I assume, matters more, you care more, you want to impress them. Just to make you more aware, they are probably already impressed that you're trying. And you need to remember that. Apart from the French, because they are never impressed with anything you do and they're just mad that you're learning their language. If you cannot help it and you still feel shy, remember that you're not a minority. Practice with a stranger or another friend who speaks the language until you gain enough confidence to show off your skills to your other half. If you don't know anyone, let's say, just make sure then to just leave a like and subscribe so you have more methods. There are methods such as Tandem, ChatGPT, any AI, italki that can actually find you a teacher who will just help you speaking and you will practice your day-to-day conversations. You surely might be thinking, what am I doing wrong? Because there is definitely something, right? Yeah, probably. But not necessarily. However, I speak more about it and all of the mistakes that do more harm than good in my previous video. Make sure to check that as well. Start dropping words in between. It literally always works. For example, darling, could you pass me Geschirrspülmaschine Reinigungsmeter? Or have you ever read the
Rindfleisch-Etikettierungsüberwachungsaufgabenübertragungsgesetz?
You know, any words can be swapped with words from your target language and it will make the whole thing easier and you will memorize it even better. If you don't know them, ask. That's the key. Always ask. One huge advantage of having constant access to a native speaker is that you will learn the authentic language. The real, the truly spoken by people every single day. This way, when you already know a bit of the vocabulary, you'll keep asking, and then you'll be able to skyrocket in the language. And what are the pros and cons of all of the things that we spoke about today? Increased chance of being together possibly, and being able to raise bilingual kids, which you then can praise to random people on the street and now online every single day.